Thank you so much for staying tuned, and as promised, we're delivering on another special donation being made today, coming off from our Easter Sunday telethon pledges that were made. This morning we have another business entity, corporate citizen, making good on their pledge with a donation this morning. Buckeye St. Lucia, they are in studio and we are live from NTN if you're just joining us from the Information Command Center for this morning's donation. Buckeye St. Lucia will be making a donation in total between cash and equipment of $200,000, and that is 250 test kits at a value of $170,000 and $33,000 being donated in cash. Now, the test kits are being donated to the Operations Command Center, and accepting on behalf of the Command Center is the chairman, the Minister, Honorable Dominic Fedee, this morning, and accepting the test kits this morning will be accepted by the Operations Command Center Minister Dominic Fedee, and the cash will be accepted by the Office of the Prime Minister Representative Mrs. Nancy Charles. I now hand over to Mr. Hubert Pamphil, the Operations Manager at Buckeye St. Lucia, and Ms. Glenda Davalos, the Director of Operations at Buckeye St. Lucia, to lead with their presentation. Good morning to you.
Good morning. We're very happy to be here. We at Buckeye feel like we were part of the St. Lucia family, and we saw that the St. Lucia community was in need, and we saw the cry for help, and our corporate office offered to help out. So we went and made contacts with a few people and found a couple of very good foundations to donate to, and we are proud to be here and to donate. We actually, for those that don't know what we do, we actually bring in the oil and gas to the island, and we also bring in the cooking gas for Rubis and Seoul to distribute across the island and across other islands. So now I will introduce you to Hubert Pamphil, and he can make the donations.
Good morning. Like Glenda said, we at Buckeye saw it fitting, especially in these times that we are with the COVID crisis, and it's all about helping people. And we have a check here for $62,500 US. This was for the purchase of kits. And I would like to present this to Mr. Dominic Fedee. Mr. Fedee.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Hubert, and thank you very much, Glenda. I want to thank you on behalf of the government and people of St. Lucia. Of course, accepting this on behalf of the Minister for Health, Honorable Mary Isaac, who is on another health-related business and couldn't be here with us today. She's attending a photo shoot and other health-related matters at the Owen King EU Hospital. But suffice it to say that this will go a long way, particularly when one considers the importance of testing as we look at the COVID response and our fight. So far, we've tested over 1,000 individuals, and we've had 18 cases, and we're glad that all of those cases have recovered, save for one, I believe, positive case that we have at the moment. So we've really done well, and it is because of the corporate outpouring of support that we receive from organizations like yourself. And we just really want to thank you so much for this great generosity and show of corporate support and spirit. Of course, your company continues to be one that is very special to and dear to my heart. I have a lot of constituents who are employees of your organization, and they do speak very well of the corporate philosophy of your company. So it's something that I know intimately, and I know all of St. Lucia know intimately, because you do have employees across all of St. Lucia. We're moving towards the reopening of our economy, and we've reopened our borders, and we're looking to operationalize the opening of the tourism sector, and looking to move into a different stage of the COVID fight. But we're doing so responsibly, and we will need all hands on deck. We'll need corporate St. Lucia, we'll need the help of civil society and every single stakeholder, so that we can move forward in the very best way in ensuring that St. Lucia is successful with COVID-19. So I think that this goes a long way in helping to build our capacity to be able to respond to this global pandemic, which have caused so many lives all across the world. And we've seen a few St. Lucians actually passing away as a result of COVID in some of the jurisdictions that have been hit hard by the disease. And really, we are thankful that we haven't seen any deaths locally, and that St. Lucians, by and large, have been spared of the brunt of the pandemic. So we thank you for your support, and we wish you and your company all the very best in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And let me say, you guys are very welcome. Buckeye will keep on trying our best to see what we can do in the time of need. And secondly, we have a check, cash, of $33,781, and I'm going to present this to Mistress Nancy Charles.
Thank you very much. Good morning once again to St. Lucia, and let me say thank you very much to the team of Buckeye St. Lucia, Glenda in particular. I'm very pleased that on behalf of the Office of the Prime Minister to receive that check today. As per our discussions, we had written to Buckeye asking for some financial assistance to assist the Office of the Prime Minister with our feeding program. As you would have been aware, we have thousands of families due to the COVID pandemic who has been displaced. Some persons are out of a job, and they still have their responsibilities, the families, to feed the children. In some cases, you have households where you have both the mother and the father who are out of a job. And so the government of St. Lucia, as part of our social stabilization program, we started our feeding program. The first phase of the feeding program was the provision of a hot cooked meal to families. We were very pleased with the feedback and the outcome of that, but subsequent to this, seeing the need on the ground, we decided to go into a second phase of the feeding program, where we now provide a food box that consists of locally grown produce. It has ground provisions, fruits and vegetables, and we also provide a protein, whether it be fish or chicken, to ensure that a family can be fed at least for the entire week. And so we are very grateful for this donation. It will go a long way towards ensuring that we can feed those needy families. I'm pleased to note that last week we donated, or we distributed throughout the island, 770 food packages. This week, from yesterday and by tomorrow, we will be distributing another 1,000 packages. And the intention of the program, with the support of corporate partners like yourself, is for us to increase to at least 1,500 boxes per week. And so we are very grateful. I would also like to call on other corporate partners who are out there listening to make a contribution and to come on board to help feed needy families in St. Lucia. So on behalf of the Office of the Prime Minister, thank you very much, and we wish Buckeye Terminals all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. That has been another donation, another corporate entity making good on the pledge made during our Easter Sunday telethon. This morning, $200,000 being handed over in cash and equipment, 250 test kits valued at $170,000 being handed over to the Honorable Minister for Tourism, Information and Broadcasting, Culture and the Creative Industries, the Honorable Dominic Fedee, sitting in and accepting as chairman of the Operations Command Center on behalf of the Minister for Health and Wellness, the Honorable Mary Isaac. and that will be going towards our PPEs, toward the effort for our frontliners, as well as the overall efforts of the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Also $33,000 coming from Buckeye as well, being donated in cash. That's to go towards the National Meals Program, and Mrs. Nancy Charles, representing the Office of the Prime Minister, accepting on behalf of that office. Thank you to Mr. Hubert Pamphil, Operations Manager, and Ms. Glenda Davalos, the Director of Operations at Buckeye St. Lucia, for your donation this morning. Thank you very much. We do hope you could stay tuned. We are due for a short break. When we come back, we have an update on the taxi protocols, and that word is coming out of the Ministry of Tourism. Stay tuned.
In mitigating the possible spread of COVID-19 into our communities, the following tourism-related health and safety protocols must be observed during the deployment of taxi and ride-share services. Drivers must wear a face mask at all times. The official COVID compliance obtained through the Ministry of Tourism must be displayed when on duty. No shaking of hands. A gentle nod or elbow greet will do. Hand sanitizer should be offered to guests prior to entering the taxi. Electronic methods of payments are encouraged as an alternative to cash transactions. All guests must keep their feet on floor mats and wear a face mask throughout the journey. Drivers should sanitize hands before and after any possible contact. Installing a plexiglass is highly recommended as an added layer of protection. For more information, operators should visit the Ministry of Tourism's website at www.slutourism.govt.lc or call 468-4603 or 468-4628. This information is brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism in collaboration with the Department of Health and Wellness. Securing lives, restoring livelihoods.
She's been watching, waiting, wondering when the sands of time will give way to a tide of change, and for yesterday and today to become a new tomorrow. For a time when her sun can kiss the cheeks of your loved one and her stars can twinkle in her honeymoon skies. When her earthly embrace will reassure and calm your soul. And her unique view can change your whole perspective. Proudly, she has risen to meet new challenges and to provide safe harbor to all who reach her shores. For her hopes and dreams still stand, shoulder to shoulder, a precious reminder of experiences yet to come. So, wherever your moments and memories take you, let her sense of adventure set you free. She is St. Lucia. Let her inspire you.
And in the latest news, the coronavirus, or COVID-19, continues to be a health emergency across the world. Caribbean people are concerned.
Everybody know about COVID-19. COVID-19. Keep socially distance and your proper hygiene. Wash your hands then clean. And don't discriminate, cause it might be. It very well could be. Somebody will look like you or look like me. Listening, listening. We're in this together. We all got to work with each other. Look out for our friends and our neighbor. And if you feel sick, don't be afraid to call the doctor. Red Cross Anonymous volunteers from across the Caribbean, working hard to fight discrimination. So if a person should feel ill, then they will contact the authorities without hesitation. The most vulnerable are the elderly, but the truth is it can infect anybody. So what we need is solidarity, everyone helping everyone like a family. So this is a message to the nation. Make sure you seek out the right information from official sources like the Ministry of Health, Red Cross and the World Health Organization. Everybody know about COVID-19. COVID-19. Keep socially distance and your proper hygiene. Wash your hands then clean. Don't discriminate cause it might be, it very well could be, somebody will look like you or look like me. Listening. People around the world facing this pandemic. Coronavirus have the whole world a panic. Now is not the time to be fearful, but to be careful, supportive and empathetic. This is the state of the society. Some people full of fear and anxiety. Yo, a lot of fake news in the community, but what we need now is more love and unity. So this is a message to the nation. Make sure you seek out the right information from official sources like the Ministry of Health, Red Cross and the World Health Organization. Everybody know about COVID-19. COVID-19. Keep socially distance and your proper hygiene. Wash your hands then clean. Don't discriminate cause it might be, it very well could be, somebody will look like you or look like me. Listening. We're in this together. We all got to work with each other. Look out for our friends and our neighbor. And if you feel sick, don't be afraid to call the doctor.
Virus ready to harm us. Panic is not the answer. We can win this together. Often use hand sanitizer. Better yet, use soap and water.
We must protect each other if we are to beat this corona.
Together let us win this war. Be a soldier for St. Lucia. Together let us win this war. A soldier, together we can beat this corona.
So you don't become the next case. Avoid touching your face. I'm sure you've been told so. Handshakes and hugging are a no.
Advice give you the please. Cover your mouth and your nose if you cough or sneeze.
Practice social distancing and avoid large social gatherings.
Together let us win this war. Be a soldier for St. Lucia. Together let us win this war. St. Lucia, be a soldier. Together we can beat this corona.
For further information, please contact the hotline at 311 or the Bureau of Health Education at 468-5349.
Coronavirus? I am worried, Gassa. It's only old people dying from that.
Hold up. Being young does not mean being safe. Yes, it's true that the elderly are at higher risk, but anyone can get the virus. The effect is even worse if you have a chronic condition like hypertension, heart disease, lung disease, and diabetes, or weakness in your immune system. If you are living with these conditions, be extra careful. Wash your hands with soap and water. Use hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol when hand washing is not possible. Avoid touching your face. Take steps to boost your immunity through proper nutrition, exercise, rest, and take your medication as prescribed. Limit being around people who have flu symptoms, even close family members.
Our health is in our hands. Together, through simple actions, we can stop the spread of coronavirus. This message was brought to you by the Bureau of Health Education of the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. Of course, if you're just joining us, we just wrapped up another donation, another corporate citizen making good on their pledge toward the telethon for personal protective equipment for our frontliners and the National Meals Program. Buckeye St. Lucia donating $200,000, a combination of cash and equipment test kits for that effort. We continue this morning with an update, protocols for taxi drivers this morning, and we know that the taxi drivers have been concerned, a little critical at times with regard to the reopening of the tourism sector. And this morning we're here to allay the fears and concerns of taxi operators here on island with the rollout of the protocols for you, the taxi drivers, as well as an interview. We have the Honorable Minister for Tourism, Information and Broadcasting, Culture and the Creative Industries, Minister the Honorable Dominic Fedee, as well as a taxi operator and member of the Taxi Task Force, Mr. Miller Charles. A pleasant good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Good morning. I'll start with you, Mr. Minister. Can you just speak to us about the protocols that have been rolled out for taxi operators on island and what it's meant to do in this COVID-19 scenario?
Well, I think that the protocols have the safety of the taxi drivers in mind first and foremost. And what it looks at is that the fact that we're going to be having the tourists that are coming in. And one of the things that we have to bear in mind is that when the tourists are coming in, they're coming from largely epicenters of the disease now. The United States is going to be the market where we're going to start first. Now, it's not possible for us to start tourism in the UK and Canada, our two other main source markets, because you have a mandatory quarantine requirement upon return, and that in itself does present a deterrent, if you will. However, the Caribbean as well, there are issues with the airlines not starting back up. We don't have any confirmation. The only place where we have an indication where the airlines are ready to fly is from the United States. But that is coupled with a very precarious public health situation, where instead of the cases of corona virus or COVID-19 going downwards, it is going upwards. And so what we have to make sure is that at every level of the value chain as we reopen, that we have a robust and rigid plan to ensure that all of the workers within the tourism sector are protected, and the taxi drivers are no exception. So I know that some of the protocols would be increased sanitization. They would include taxi drivers having to wear masks. They would include special seating arrangements. The last time I saw the protocol, it suggested that in the middle of the seat, there will be no seating arrangements, and the plexiglass, as mentioned here by Mr. Charles, so that we can ensure that our taxi drivers are protected and the visitors on the various transportation are also protected. It is absolutely key. We are living in a new normal, and I've seen a lot of suggestions to say, let's open, let's move ahead and open. Well, it's only been 2 days or so that Jamaica has been open, and Antigua has only been open for a little over a week. And so we really have no indication as to what successes and what challenges they've had, because it is really too early to tell when we are still in the early stages of reopening. So I just want to say at this time that what we have to do is to ensure that we open, but we open right.
Wonderful. I now switch over to Mr. Miller Charles, who is on the Taxi Task Force and the taxi operator himself. You've had a chance to peruse the protocols, looking at taxi drivers should regularly sanitize, the use of masks, electronic methods of payment recommended as an alternative for cash transactions, the plexiglass highly recommended as an added layer of protection. How do you feel about those protocols?
I think that these protocols are very much needed, and I applaud the ministry and the minister for ensuring that these things will basically be adhered to, and the safety of our drivers are basically what they place most of their priority on. There were also some other issues about the decertification, which wasn't the case. And I would like to take this opportunity right here in front of the minister so that he can assure all our taxi drivers out there that there is no decertification program that will be going on. But all in all, I think that there is a phased approach where we all know that everything is not gonna come back to normal very soon, and the most that we can do is comply with all of the protocols that are outlined in the ad that everybody's gonna see. We need to also be up to date with the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Transportation. The minister also assured us that the sector is going to be regulated properly, and this is the reason why he put in place the task force. The task force has already had about 3 meetings, and we can say that we are happy with what is being achieved. We also heard from the grapevine that the taxi drivers might be getting something that is going to make us smile sometime soon. So, Mr. Minister, I hope that on behalf of the taxi drivers out there, you know, I really do hope that you are going to make us smile, because we have been suffering for quite a long time. And I'll take this opportunity to say that we are the first point of contact. You know, we are the ambassadors of the island. We are the last point of contact sometimes before the guest leaves. And I really do think that that you need to see how important the ground handlers and our sector is to the whole tourism sector on the whole. And I just hope that everything that we as the task force are putting in play will finally come together and be accomplished for the betterment of the sector. Yeah.
I want to take this opportunity to really thank the entire taxi fraternity for their own cooperation with the Ministry of Tourism, the zeal and the diligence with which they have come together to work towards establishing a very good-spirited collaboration between the two departments. And I think that this is going to work in the best interest of tourism. I want to also assure you that the taxi sector is seen by our government as one of the critical pillars upon which the tourism industry is hinged, and so therefore we will make every effort to ensure that we give you the support in every area that we can. To attain these protocols, we want to assist as well in helping to meet some of the costs associated, because we know that it is very difficult for you to provide the PPE supplies. You are frontliners in many instances, just as the health workers are, and we are committed to helping the sector to get some of the supplies so that we can keep the taxi drivers and all the tourists that are traveling on their various forms of vehicles safe. So we are very excited and look forward to the reopening of tourism.
So I'm very happy to hear about the PPEs, but there's some other things concerning the sector that well, I think a lot of the taxi drivers
you would have to listen to the Prime Minister's,
are looking forward to.
The Prime Minister's budget speech on Thursday. He's expected to make a very exciting announcement as it pertains to the taxi drivers, and I'm sure it is one that will intrigue the entire sector. So I can hardly wait to hear it myself. But I've been hearing through the grapevine just as you are.
And to hear it from you directly, in terms going back to the taxi protocols at this time in this COVID-19 environment, how can the taxi operators obtain COVID-19 compliance at this time, Honorable Minister?
It is working with the Ministry of Tourism and the Ministry of Health to ensure that they meet some of the standards required for their own safety. This has never been about making business difficult for anyone, but this is recognizing that COVID is a reality. COVID is a global pandemic. It is dangerous. And what we have to do is to make sure that we work with our drivers to make sure that we protect them from being contracted with the virus. And every effort has been made to give guidance and to lend support so that our taxi sector can reach those guidance. I want to thank Mr. Norbert Phillip, Mr. Phillip, who from Southern Taxi, who has been a champion of the industry and who's been a tireless voice for advancement of the industry. Whenever we have a meeting, he's never shy of letting me know exactly where he stands on the various issues. And it's really been very frank discussions with the sector, but very fruitful at the same time, which we can appreciate.
Okay. I honestly can see some clarity, and I think that now, after this and the good news that is going through the grapevine, I really think it will later rest some concerns of the taxi drivers on our behalf.
Okay. I'm pleased to hear that. What I would like to also do is encourage your sector to apply for the income support program. I know that a number of drivers have applied, but really it is to have you to apply. And then as well, I think that it gives you an opportunity to become registered with the NIC if you wish to become registered. This is a choice that you have, but what we have seen over the years is that in the self-employed sector, which taxi drivers are part of, oftentimes you find individuals get to the age of retirement and they're not able to sustain their lives because there's no social security. So what we want to do is work together and to see how we can have a very sustainable system by which the taxi drivers can be a part of, and to really be part of the social security system. So I think that this is a great opportunity that we have, and we hope that as many of you will take the opportunity that is presented by the NIC to get registered.
I think they will. Yeah, I think.
I'd like to thank you, the Honorable Minister for Tourism, Information and Broadcasting, Culture and Creative Industries, Honorable Dominic Fedee, and Taxi Task Force spokesperson, Mr. Miller Charles, for sitting in with us as we go over these protocols for taxi drivers in this COVID-19 environment. During the phased reopening of the tourism sector, the following health and safety procedures must be observed with the deployment of authorized taxi services. Taxi drivers must wear a mask at all times. The official COVID-19 compliance obtained and facilitated by the Ministry of Tourism must be displayed when on duty. No shaking of hands, a gentle nod or elbow greet will do, and hand sanitizer should be offered to the guests prior to entering the taxi. Installing a plexiglass is highly recommended as an added layer of protection. Taxi drivers should regularly sanitize their hands. Electronic methods of payment are recommended as an alternative cash transaction. And also all guests must keep their feet on floor mats and wear a face mask throughout the journey. How do taxi operators obtain a COVID-19 compliance? The Ministry of Tourism is conducting ongoing training for all taxi operators, after which checks will be done to ensure taxi operators have the required PPEs, that is personal protective equipment. It is important for taxi drivers to undergo the training and follow the advice from the Ministry of Health. The COVID-19 compliance is required for all tourism operators. For more information on being COVID-19 ready, please visit the Ministry of Health or the Ministry of Tourism website or call 468-4603 or 468-4628 from Monday to Friday during the hours of 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And the wonderful thing about it is that there is no registration fee. The process fee is free of charge. The process is free of charge. The ministry will work with taxi associations, the taxi union, and the taxi companies to ensure that everyone has a copy of the COVID-19 taxi protocol and undergoes training and gets registered as needed. Well, that's all the time we have for now. We'd like to thank you so much for watching as we went over the taxi protocols for COVID-19. We do hope you enjoy the remainder of your day. Stay tuned to NTN for more programming, and also like our Facebook page, Government of St. Lucia. Also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Government of St. Lucia YouTube channel, and click the notification button so you'll always know when we have new content coming from the Government of St. Lucia. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye for now.
In mitigating the possible spread of COVID-19 into our communities, the following tourism-related health and safety protocols must be observed during the deployment of taxi and ride-share services. Drivers must wear a face mask at all times. The official COVID compliance obtained through the Ministry of Tourism must be displayed when on duty. No shaking of hands. A gentle nod or elbow greet will do. Hand sanitizer should be offered to guests prior to entering the taxi. Electronic methods of payments are encouraged as an alternative to cash transactions. All guests must keep their feet on floor mats and wear a face mask throughout the journey. Drivers should sanitize hands before and after any possible contact. Installing a plexiglass is highly recommended as an added layer of protection. For more information, operators should visit the Ministry of Tourism's website at www.slutourism.govt.lc or call 468-4603 or 468-4628. This information is brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism in collaboration with the Department of Health and Wellness. Securing lives, restoring livelihoods.